My wife admitted she cheated with my best man. My wife and I have been married for 7 years come this August. Back in April my wife sat me down and admitted to me that she had a 4-month affair with my best man 6 years ago. We got married in August, and the texting apparently started after a New Year's party we hosting. I was making an honest effort to forgive and find a way forward, even to the extent that we renewed our vows. A few more weeks go by and I bring up a question I've already asked 2 times, which is asking whether or not protection was used. No, my wife has always had an IUD, but she clearly understood what I was asking. After the 3rd time she said again they did use protection. About 20 minutes later she admits that she has been lying about that and there was never protection used. Then come to find out we had time on the same day she was with my best man. That felt violating. Anyway, I have been staying with my mom for about a week now trying to sort out my emotions. She is remorseful, and I love her deeply, but I am struggling with whether or not I can live with this forever. It's hard to see a life you've built and dreamed for be potentially flushed down the drain, but I feel like I am damned if I do, damned if I don't. I guess I am ranting, but happy to hear others' advice and perspective. I'd like to think this would never happen again, but I also didn't think she would lie to me as we rewrote our vows. That one hurt a lot. Redditor's reactions, story 2 after. Redditor 1. Can you ever get those mental images out of your head? I could never do it. What made her confess? I highly doubt it was guilt, because she hid all for so long and lied about details. I'm thinking the breezy man's partner found out and threatened to expose everything. Answer: that's a question I am not sure I know the answer to, but probably not. Who could? We have more seriously discussed having children, and I think that was the main motive. Actually, it was the other way. I got a text from their wife basically thanking me for making him tell her. We were all friends in high school and my wife is my high school sweetheart. In recent years the guy has started to push me away, blaming it on my WED habits. My wife witnessed my struggle all along and never told me. Redditor 2. So, after she told you the truth, she was still lying to you. Stop wasting your life on her, because you're never gonna get over this and you're never gonna trust her again. I'm very sorry for your heartache, Redditor 3. You are only damned if you don't. Divorce her, quickly. Yes, it is that easy. My wife and I had been together for 24 years, married over 16 years, and our children were just 4, 6 and 9 years old when I discovered her cheating, and I divorced her right away, and I do mean right away. I discovered her cheating on October 1st many years ago. I began seeing attorneys, found one, met with her a few times. On October 18th I told my lying, cheating wife I knew she was cheating. I told her I was divorcing her. I told her I was moving out in 2 weeks, which I did on October 30th. 5 months later, at the end of March, our divorce was finalized. Now, it was hard. I loved her, she was my best friend, we had young children. But she cheated. I loved her deeply too, but that simply doesn't matter. So much more than love is needed. Oh, she does not love you anywhere near as deeply as you love her. Love is a verb, it's actions. Was it loving of her to duck your best man? Without protection? To not have told you all these years? And just why is she now telling you? In April, I mean. It had been 6 years and she hadn't told you. Something happens to force her to tell you now. Oh, the odds are really good that she had not been honest with you about the scope of the affair either. So many times they say it was only for a few months, and it turns out that it was for many years. She's lying and minimizing things to you. That's what cheaters do. And she is a cheater. Don't ever be someone's plan B. Op. Redditor follow-up, good for you and glad you are in a better place today. I agree with you, she's minimizing the extent of the affair. I'm willing to bet it was longer than she's letting on and that she had time with Op after being with AP. God knows how many times she kissed him right after esking the other guy off. I wouldn't be able to get that thought out of my head in a million years. Story 2, 2 years after finding out and it still feels like part of me died. It's dramatic, I know, but it's how I feel. I knew deep down that I couldn't survive it and it feels like I didn't. I mean, I have a good life now, somewhat better because I don't see my ex anymore. There was a part of me that believed in people, had initial hope, and trusted more that won't ever come back. Maybe it's that combined with our collective 2020, but I just believe in people less now. The hardest part is I like the person I was more than the person I am. There isn't anything to do about it because I don't think I can be that person again. It's like a scar, it's healed but can't be the same. Do any of you have this feeling? How did you deal with it? Redditor's reactions update after. Redditor 1, in my first real longish relationship. I was cheated on and virtually humiliated in front of joint and own friends. I felt I lost my wings to my spirit. I was carefree and in love. I still 40 years hence carry that now small scar. She apparently is in her third marriage. So the leopard didn't change her spots. Me married for nearly 35 years to my only marriage. But still sometimes that little scar itches. Redditor 2, it has only been 6 months for me. 5 months since the divorce was final. Yeah, I moved quickly to end it. I've no contact with my ex either, though we live just a few blocks away from one another. I've not seen him, talked to him, and I'm thankful for that. And no, I'm not at all the same person as I was when I woke up the morning of D-Day. Therapy and a lot of it has gotten me further in the healing process than I thought possible, but I am still so very angry that my 36-plus-year marriage was a sham. My self-image is so skewed now that I find it hard to believe when people tell me I look nice or compliment me in any way. I've lost 45 pounds and am in much better shape, but what looks back at me in the mirror is still that woman who was never enough. He's out of my head space for the most part, but a lousy self-image has replaced him. Op answer, sorry to hear that. If it helps, I've been working at accepting what others say about me instead of embracing the crappy person she accused me of being. I hope you find that yourself. Redditor 3, for me it resumed to losing your innocence and naivety about life and relationship. You can't go back, sadly, something died but another thing was born, and for me it was being able to open my eyes to the reality of people. I became more open-minded, mature emotionally, I'm more able to see things from different point of view. For me it's part of life, I changed and I have to accept it. Op answer, I agree that I need to accept the change in myself. I just find myself mourning someone who had more hope in other people. It's like the pandemic, people are making such selfish choices. I used to believe in times of need we'd find our best selves. Update, I'm so tired of people's hypocritical reactions to cheating. When watching a movie, talking about a book or hearing about someone cheating, our friends were quick to condemn it. What type of person does that? And all the lying. When my ex-wife had an emotional affair, our mutual acquaintances got real quiet. They didn't want to get involved, choose sides, or judge. People told me that it must be hard and not everyone can forgive that. Excuse me. Why should I feel bad I couldn't forgive her? She very quickly blindsided me with a divorce that came out of this affair. Then she tried to walk back a ton of gaslighting about how I was emotionally abusing her so intensely I had blacked it out. People's words and actions just don't match. Everyone claims they have character but few do when it causes the slightest amount of inconvenience. I hate to admit it, but the worst cheaters do win. I'd even feel better if she was accountable for her behavior and accepted what she'd done. The only person she feels bad for is herself. Thanks for space to rant. Redditor's reactions, story 3 after. Redditor 1, it seems like they win in the short term, but if you handle it right, you win in the long term. You win because you are given the opportunity to walk away from a bad person, who isn't committed, which saves you precious time. You win because you maintain the moral high ground and that'll always be a stain on their character. Long-term winning is better because life is a marathon, my friend. Op answer, I know you're right and my life is much better now in so many ways. I was annoyed at watching a movie with my friends that included cheating. Someone was talking about how terrible it was and what a terrible person that character was. All I could think was, you know someone who did that. You got coffee with them last weekend. You're so offended by this fictional character but in real life you don't seem to care about it at all. Redditor 2, Switzerland friends are the worst. That's why you cut them loose. A true friend stands with you in truth and doesn't turn a blind eye to injustice. Infidelity is psychological, emotional, and physical abuse. How many people would have coffee with someone who beat up their spouse? Op answer, weird story, I got wrapped up in a former friend couple where one was arrested for domestic abuse. I was the go-between for a bit to help them through the legal stuff and then told him it's not okay and went LC. It wasn't easy and it was sad. It was also important to call it out as wrong and set boundaries for myself. Redditor 3, I had a very similar experience. Being blindsided with divorce by the very person who cheated on me and being labeled the abuser. It's all projection. In my experience, people who tell you they are not taking side, they have taken a side, not yours. Heck, the person who went most out of her way to tell me how she wasn't picking a side turned out to be the very person who actually composed the email my then wife sent me to tell me she was leaving me. Another person who also claimed to be neutral while at the same time, she referred her divorce attorney to the person I was married to. Etc., etc. So the more someone tells you they are neutral, the more you should watch out for them. Sorry you had to go through this. Hope you are focusing on your healing. Redditor follow-up, the minute anyone says to you, I'm not taking sides. Your immediate response should be to scoff at them and say quite profoundly, actually, you just did. And then walk away from them before even allowing them a response. What you want to do here is dismiss them like they are dismissing you with their lie. Your condemnation, rebuke and abrupt response to their lie sends their heads into a spin, no matter if they admit it to you or not. So, do not allow monkey branch affair enablers to lie to you about not taking a side. It's BS and it just furthers the ability of the WS and their monkeys to heap emotional abuse on you that you did nothing to deserve. Story 3, Shake the feeling of wanting revenge. My GF of 3 years broke it off with me a few months ago. Her reasonings were unclear and seemed intentionally vague. I tried hard for a month to reconcile our relationship only to find out that she was involved romantically with her boss. I have been devastated by this. Months have passed and I feel like I am still not getting my bearings together in my life. All the while she is seeing her boss, and I've also seen her on the dating apps. The thing is though, Her relationship with her boss has to be kept a secret. Her place of employment does not allow workplace relations, especially with a manager and employee. I cannot for the life of me shake this feeling of telling her co-workers and the HR department about their relationship. As I type this out, I feel ridiculous. What would this even accomplish? My question is, how do you get over this want for karmic retribution? Edit, I'm getting a lot of encouragement from others about outing them, but the thing is I don't have any solid evidence. I have no photos of them together or anything to send in to back my claims. While we all love a good cheater exposed story, I just don't know if it would work out how I would hope. Update, she reached out to me. My ex broke up with me about 4 months ago. Shortly after I found out she had been cheating on me with her boss for some time. After going no contact over the last 2 months, she reached out trying to get in contact with me. I didn't respond, and it has been a few days, but why can't I shake this feeling of wanting to respond to her? I'm not sure if it's a curiosity thing or just a want to rip her head off because of how much I hate her. I have been doing so much better mentally after going no contact, but I just can't shake this feeling of wanting to engage with her, and I hate it. Why does she have to try and bring me back into this? Edit, wow, the support in these comments and messages has blown me away. I can't thank you all enough. Redditor's reactions, story 4 after. Redditor 1, I think you're better off not to. She may have discovered that the grass isn't nearly as green as she thought it was. She made her bed, let her lay in it. You should take care of yourself and heal from the damage she inflicted. At this point, if you respond, you're likely just opening up yourself to self-doubt and more heartbreak. I wish you the best of luck. Redditor follow-up, this is excellent advice. To add to this, block her so she can't reach out in the future. Don't break your 2-month streak. She is probably trying to manipulate her way back into your life. Don't let that happen. Redditor 2, it's a trap. For the sake of your psyche, stay North Carolina. She failed GF 101, and that prerequisite is a hard stop for advancing. Redditor follow-up, dead-on advice. Keep focusing on you moving forward. Concentrate. There may be obstacles. Redditor 3, block her? If you have her number stored, delete it. Remove all avenues of possible contact. Why does she have to try and bring me back into this? Because she's selfish. Does she know you know about the affair? Regardless, resuming contact will be like picking at a barely healed wound. It'll hurt and you'll take several steps back in your healing process. Story 4, How I Learned to Survive Infidelity. Hi everybody. I am a 3x survivor of infidelity. It all happened a long time ago, but I thought I might share my experiences. I endured great emotional pain and suffering. But I also learned a lot along the way and eventually overcame the painful aftermath of so much heartbreaking infidelity. These weren't marriages but long-term relationships I thought would lead to marriage. The first great love of my life at 19, Maria, lied and told me her ex-boyfriend had arped her while we were temporarily broken up. This was the start of a long sage of times when, from time to time, she told me he had sneaked onto campus or caught her when I was away. It was agony. Eventually I found out she was lying. It was horrible. My whole world was destroyed and I nearly dropped out of college. I couldn't conceive that level of betrayal. The second great love of my life, Kenna, was a busy government professional always taking trips. We had a great life together filled with fun and adventure and a great deal in common. Thing was, I missed or ignored all the red flags in her behavior. I never acted jealous and never questioned her trips or social activities. I asked her to marry me one day and she rejected me, saying that we were just friends. WTF. After everything we shared, all that we had done, I was floored. As it turns out, she had been manipulating and gaslighting me the whole time. She had a man in every port during her trips. She had worked her way through her office colleagues. The numbers were staggering. I found all this out later through a mutual friend or two. I was once again destroyed. I ended up getting discharged from the army. My mental health cratered. Truthfully, I was never the same again. The third great love of my life, Joanna, was a few years younger than me. She was brilliant, beautiful, and very adventurous. We had a really intense, deep, but fun relationship. I was close to her family as well. With her, I had the seemingly perfect life heading towards marriage. A few months after moving in, she confessed to cheating with a mutual bar acquaintance after an argument we had one night. She was angry that I didn't see things her way, so she ran out, got drunk, and had time with him in his car outside the bar. This time I was emotionally ready. I felt almost nothing. Just disappointed in her. I wasn't devastated. I wasn't crying. I wasn't even particularly angry. After we broke up, I avoided dating for several years and finally achieved an inner peace that had eluded me for years. Here are the insights I gained from these experiences. Cheating happens. It isn't right. It isn't fair. But there it is. One should always be alert to the possibility but not obsess. There are many reasons people cheat. None of them good, of course. Some do it for the sheer selfish joy. Others because they are deeply emotionally flawed in some way. Others still due to mental illness. Some get drunk high under the influence of something and lose control of themselves. And others still because they are too immature for a committed relationship. It is a reflection on the nature or behavior of the cheater, not the cheated. You can do everything right and be the best you can be, and still be a victim. Do not blame yourself. No pedestals. Your partner, male or female, is simply a human being with all the strengths and weaknesses that come with the human condition. Everyone's got urges, instincts or baser motivations to some degree. Some just handle it better than others. Don't expect perfection, and it will be a little less painful when they disappoint you in some way. Remember, there is the way you see them, and the way they really are. Be realistic in your expectations. Avoid extreme issues. Most people deserve love. However, it does not have to be you that provides it. Avoid partners with extreme issues in untreated mental health, emotional stability, dysfunctional lifestyles, and most of all alcoholism, drug addictions. These are issues that most of us are not equipped to deal with. In my own experience, Joanna and Kenna turned out to be alcoholics and, looking back, it was a major factor in their own behaviors. Not your everything. Don't make your partner the end-all be-all of your existence. You should maintain relationships with family and friends as much as possible. Create social networks that can support you. Professional associations. Develop your own interests and hobbies. A healthy relationship can be an amazing source of strength and inspiration in your life. But often we expect too much from our partners. It's okay for men to have male friends to do male-oriented activities. And for women to do women-oriented things. Or professional associates you can talk business with. Sometimes we just want to talk to someone like ourselves because they understand us. I talk to veterans about veteran things. My wife does not relate to PTSD, military topics, or experience in a war zone. And I don't expect her to. And I am not into raising goats and chickens, which is her thing now. She talks to goat raising friends about that. Time and distance. Recovering from infidelity requires time and distance from the event. The pain and disruption of your life will fade the farther you are from it, both in time and geography. I no longer feel any pain from those relationships. I am sad I wasted so many years of my life with the wrong partners, but that's it. In addition to time and distance, the perspectives we can get from that go a long way to resolving our feelings. Life goes on. There is a great line from the last Rocky movie I saw. He says to his son, "Life is not about hard you can hit, but how hard you can get hit and still get up." I have found this to be very true. About 4 years after Joanna, I met my future wife. We are loyal, faithful, supportive, and always caring for each other. We have 2 boys, a nice house, and a big yard for them to play in. Life is good. Redditor's reactions. Redditor 1, a lot of similarities and all true. The pedestal and making them all to be everything I also found to be wrong. PTSD does add another layer to infidelity. Glad you made it. I also have a wonderful life after infidelity. The scar tissue remains present, but it gets better. I hope all newbies read your post. It's not how many times you are beaten down, but how you get up and rebuild. For me, it showed me how strong I could be. Never allow someone to treat you bad. They say nice guys end last. I differ. Nice guys get up and rebuild. Cheaters end last, but they will never admit it. 2 of yours ended as slutaholics. Mine is still baiting traps and destroying marriages. No relationships real. Nothing last past 2 years. Coming March I will be married 20 years. I woke up this morning to my wife looking at me while I was sleeping. I asked her what now. All she said is "I love you," and "I am so happy to wake up to this." It puts such a kickstart to a Monday. There is always hope. In dealing with a cheater you learn to create your own. Redditor follow-up. I woke up this morning to my wife looking at me while I was sleeping. I asked her what now. All she said is "I love you," and "I am so happy." This made me smile, and it didn't even happen to me. So happy for you? I don't think that spouses really know how much this can mean to a man. A simple compliment, or acknowledgement like that can keep you going happily for another 10 years, ha ha. Redditor 2, thank you, that's helpful for me. I still struggle to forgive. Should probably just get divorced. Redditor 3, this was great, hopefully it helps many that read this. Redditor 4, this was a great read, thanks so much. This could genuinely be turned into a book.